A journey through 50 countries on a tuk-tuk to promote education around the world. That was the mission that teachers Rich Sears and Nick Goff set out on 4 months ago when World One first spoke to them. In fact, I had a good word with them. And since then, they've travelled through 17 countries covering 16,000 kilometres. Now they're in Nairobi, Kenya, where we're checking in with them to see how they're getting on. So let's cross live now to talk to the intrepid tuk-tuk teachers, Nick Goff and Rich Sears. Amazing. You're going to be known forevermore, guys, as the intrepid tuk-tuk teachers. But let's, you know, I'm really curious to know how many countries you guys have gone through, what sort of challenges you faced. You know, this has been a long journey that you've been on so far, and we're seeing some beautiful pictures of scenery. Along this journey, they've been through deserts, they've been on some very, very bumpy roads, particularly in Kenya, I hear. And Kenya is where they found themselves now, in Nairobi. That's where they've spent Christmas. Now, it appears that we may have lost our connection to them. So, as we try and get that back, I want to tell you about how you can follow them. You can follow them on an interactive map. They have a line that the tuk-tuk teachers have actually set up. And on this line, the address is on your screen now. Hopefully, there you go. You can check out their map and you can see where they've been. They've uploaded lots of videos and pictures and all sorts of beauty that goes along with this trip, and lots of information about the education projects that they've been visiting. This is for some of the smaller organizations that have set up the smaller projects, not the ones backed by the big NGOs. It's the forgotten ones that they've been focusing on, the ones that need some publicity. So do check out that website and see if you can get more on it. Now, apparently, we can talk to them. Hopefully we can. So Rich and Nick, if you're there, I think you are. Ah, wonderful. Looks fantastic over there. Rich, let's start with you. You know, I was wondering, how many countries have you been through now? And tell us about some of the ups of your journey so far.
We're in our 17th country now. And we've been really lucky. We haven't faced too many large problems so far. So it's all really been one big up. We've seen some fantastic sights down through Europe and down through Northern Africa. We've met some wonderful people. We've just been shown such incredible hospitality all the way. And really, we've just seen beautiful landscapes, and just they're so different as well. Here in Africa, we've been through really quite barren deserts, with lots of, you know, sand stretching out into the distant lunar landscapes, and that moved into Ethiopia with huge hills and mountains where we struggled somewhat, and now more recently coming down into Kenya, it's luckily flattened out a bit, but we've seen some beautiful landscapes as well. It's been amazing.
I'm sure you have. You know, Nick, before you left, we had a Zoom around London. I talked to you a lot about some of the projects that you're going to go get involved with, and some of the people you're going to visit. Tell me about some of those projects and some of the interesting things that you've learned about education.
Well, we've been very lucky. When our first project was actually in a slum in Cairo, a brilliant project that educates, gets street children off the street, and it educates them and gives them vocational training. Again, like you said, it's for us, we're looking for projects that aren't necessarily, they don't have the support of the big NGOs, but it is locals who are doing amazing things in their community. And there was another example of that in Khartoum with another street child project. And it's just been fascinating. We've seen educational success stories, but we've also seen and encountered some of the educational problems. And really in some of the big cities, especially in Africa, street children is really one of the big problems that there is.
Well, you know, even learning about that is fantastic, because it's something that needs to be put on the map. It's something we all need to hear about so we can all do more to improve the situation. Rich, a little birdie tells me that you guys had a few problems when you were in Egypt, which I hear were quite interesting. You managed to get out of it, but what happened?
We were traveling down the Red Sea coast, and we had some trouble at all of the checkpoints, because we had trouble as soon. In fact, we've had trouble in every country, basically, trying to get the tuk-tuk through, because tuk-tuks are never imported into these countries. People don't bring them in. And so it was the first time for all of these countries that they've had to deal with these things. So we've had issues on borders, but at all the police checkpoints as well, we had a bit of trouble. And especially one time we were pulled over. We heard these sirens blazing. They came up behind us. They pulled over, escorted to a police station. We had no idea what was going on. And after a while, we must have been there for 2 or 3 hours. After a while, we found out that they were quite interested in our cameras. They thought that we'd been taking photos and videos of secret police bases out at sea. And that was really quite hard to, the language barrier prevented us from being able to explain that one away. But we did try to say, if we were spies, I'm not sure whether we'd have chosen this tuk-tuk as a getaway vehicle to cover story.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm about to see a tuk-tuk in a Bond movie or anything like that, but you never know, right, guys?